Hey guys, Scan here. Brigitte's Shield Bash is probably her most useful tool overall, not only because it stuns your opponents, but because it is also really good for her movement and interesting maneuvers on virtually every map in the game. First, I just want to point out this guide is not about shield bounce jumps. Those are the kinds of jumps that Brigitte bounces off of an item in a level that gives her much more vertical range. Instead, this is more about horizontal range, about the boost that you can get to special areas through the horizontal movement of Brigitte's Shield Bash. So here I'm going to be going over some interesting ways you can use Shield Bash to move around on every map except for Dorado. I can't find a good way to use it on Dorado. If you guys can, please show me because I can't find one so far. Starting off on Blizzard World, here is a popular point for defensive groups. If someone is suddenly capturing, you can Shield Bash over this wall and immediately contest to try to delay that capture for as long as you possibly can. If you find that an offensive push onto the capture point isn't working in your favor, look behind you. You see this stack of boxes right next to Snacks Ramos? You can jump on that and then Shield Bash towards this rock. Then you can immediately jump into cover and pick up one of two optional health packs. I like to choose this smaller one because you are also behind the cover of this wall. If you're up by the pylon between it and the siege tank, you can Shield Bash into this leg of the siege tank and work your way behind the enemy payload to contest it. If you're low on health during the final push on Blizzard World on offense, you can Shield Bash across this gap and grab this health pack. It also gives you a pretty good flanking position. I only found one really useful jump on Eichenwald, but it's useful on both offense and defense. It's easy with her to jump off the side of the bridge through this hole and over to one of these two health packs if you need to disengage and heal up. When on offense on Hanamura, this window at the top left is something Brigitte actually can just barely make it to. You can also do something similar when you are on the defensive side of things when it comes to this window. It doesn't look like it, but you can just make it up onto the platform to attack the enemies below and start some healing. When attacking from the right side at point B, if you step onto this ledge and Shield Bash, you will make your way through the top right window and have the height advantage on your opponents down at the point below. As you're defending the payload on Hollywood, if you jump up onto this green dumpster and then Shield Bash across, you are immediately on the high ground at the saloon. You're probably going to find a McCree or Tracer trying to pick at you from there most of the time. Once you have the high ground at the saloon, you can also Shield Bash across to the roof of the bank across the way. This gives you access to one of the two main paths that an offensive push may come through, so you may be able to pull off a flank. On Horizon, this isn't really so much a jump, so much as it is just something useful to know. In the low gravity area of the level, your Shield Bash momentum remains, meaning that this way up and around to the right and behind this popular sniper perch, you can get there really fast. While at the Ruins portion of the Ilios matchup, I like to try to stay on the high ground. The ramps tend to be just choke points where Brigitte's shield is going to get immediately blown up and she'll be taken out by Roadhog or Reaper, so I like using the Shield Bash to stay on the higher portions of most of the Ruins here. If you're used to playing as Genji or Diva or even Lucio, you're probably familiar with this next little jump. At this side, at either spawn, you will find that there is a small gap you can make it across as a little shortcut to get to the control point. It's a nice little sneaky way to get across. This is one of my favorite ways to contest now on Ilios using Brigitte. See, normally you will be stuck using that lower lane, which is predictable, but if you jump up onto this lounge chair, you can Shield Bash over the wall. You're protected and it's a unique way of challenging. Now, this first dash I'm going to show you on Junkertown is something that I just think is really fun, plus it makes me think I'm playing Jet Grind Radio. If you shield dash towards this pipe, you will slide down it and land pretty close to the location of the end of the first payload push. It makes you hard to hit. Unlike most other heroes, you don't need to wait for these fan blades to make your way towards the center of the final area of Junkertown. Brigitte can jump from the center to any of the ledges around it using her shield bash. It's a lot of maneuverability, gives her the high ground, and while you're not going to be attacking from the high ground, your visibility is going to be fantastic, so you're going to be able to throw out heals in pretty much any direction. If you find yourself here on the high ground near the end of the final push and need to escape, turn around and dash through this window. If you make your way down the staircase at the back, you're going to find a big med pack for you to heal up with so you can turn around and rejoin the fray right away. This one on King's Row is pretty obvious, but it's still worth knowing that Brigitte can do it. Brigitte can work her way up around the right when she's on offense and shield bash across this gap to be able to flank from behind. If you're paired up with a Reaper or a Tracer, this is especially useful. On Lijiang Tower, if you're trying to challenge the point with a few seconds to go, jump up onto this food cart and shield bash over the wall. Another unique movement for you to be able to contest a little bit faster. And another one that is a little bit obvious, but is still worth noting, you can make it over the gap here on Lijiang Tower using her shield bash to contest, again, just that little bit faster. Nepal, again, it's all about just trying to contest a little bit faster. She can make her way across this gap in a way that most heroes can't, from corner to corner. For the most part, the jump all the way on the left can be done by anyone, but she gets that little bit of extra range. Similar to many of the other maneuvers I've been highlighting here, this is all about being able to contest the point in unique ways. Working your way up around to the right, you can then jump over this wall, shield bash, and you're immediately on the point. If you're on the high ground supporting a Soldier 76 or a Sniper or a McCree at this part of Nepal, and you need to disengage, jump and you can make your way over this stone wall and you will be immediately able to grab a big health pack and re-engage with the rest of your team. On Numbani at the first capture point, you're able to shield bash across this wide gap and assault this high up offensive position. Similarly, if you're on offense and want to take out a sniper, you can do the opposite and take out the high ground position here. This is a bit unique and I'm not sure how useful it's going to be, but it's worth highlighting. If you jump and shield bash at this certain point of the bus, you can actually make your way on top of it for a unique defensive position. If your shield bash recharges in the amount of time you're there, you can then shield bash up behind you, keeping that high ground advantage, and move your way back around to heal your teammates from afar. Another high ground situation, if you are here on Oasis and you need to immediately flee, jump and shield bash around the back. On either side you will find a large health pack and you can grab it and re-engage with the rest of your team. If you're just trying to do some harassment on this part of Oasis, getting the high ground and then shield bashing to the center tower here leaves you unable to be attacked from the back and your shield will protect you from the front. Plus you can heal yourself by quickly hitting a jet down to the bottom to start your passive healing. Here at the start of Route 66, the rooftop of Big Earl's is a pretty important vantage point for the second half of the first push of the payload. So being able to dash over from it to the ledge, or over from the ledge here to it, is important, and it keeps you out of the line of fire that typically takes place below on the road. During the second part of the payload push, dash over this gap to keep the high ground and get a very nice flanking point down these stairs. If you jump and dash halfway down these stairs, you can keep the high ground if you want to try to heal allies who are attacking below from a safe vantage point. Temple of Anubis has some of the most unique movement options for Brigitte. On offense, you can jump up onto this awning and shield bash over to a very popular defensive position. In fact, that shield bash will very often hit anyone standing there. Once you've captured point A, one of the more popular options is to flank around to the right and attack from there. Brigitte can make it over 2 gaps here. That first one, which is pretty obvious, and then 90 degrees to your right after the turn, you have a second gap that Brigitte can make it over and immediately make it onto the point. If you're defending point B, these stones to the left at spawn will be a good way to get across the same gap. You make your way across and now are able to flank the position of the opponents from their left. If you want to, you can make a full circle here. You can shield bash onto this rooftop, flank them from behind, and once you've taken some damage, dash over again, get some cover, and make your way all the way around until you heal up using this med pack. While you are defending at point A on Volskaya Industries, you can jump up onto this forklift and make your way across to the rooftop over to your left. Usually you'll have a DPS hero up here anyways, and it's nice to be able to shield them or defend them. If you need to escape, shield bash your way off the rooftop, work your way around, grab a med pack, and rejoin the fray. As you're defending point B on Volskaya, you can work your way around to the left to a very popular sniping position for offensive players. Dash your way over and either boop them off the edge or try to go for the kill. It's also very easy to use a shield bash to make your way across this straightforward gap as well if you're trying to get on high ground on people who might be attacking from the right side. And finally, watch Point Gibraltar, which does feature one of my favorite jumps that Brigitte has in the entire game. If you're on offense, jumping up onto this stack of items here means that you can make your way to the high ground to again harass a sniper because you'll probably see a Widowmaker up here on defense. Making your way on top of the Aurora as Brigitte is relatively simple, especially since if you want to, you can shield bash at this point up onto the spaceship here. From this position, you can work your way either to the left or right, depending on where you have positioned yourself on the nose of the spacecraft. This is again more about harassment than anything else, but you want to make sure you can rejoin your team pretty quickly afterwards. And finally, if you want to try to find a way to harass the payload when it's still around the corner, I know I said I wouldn't do any vertical jumps, but this is just too good. Get over these pipes and you will find a fantastic way to flank the opponent from behind. I hope this helps you guys with a little bit of maneuvering around the levels in a way that might be unexpected and might even save you when it comes to contesting points on control maps. Thanks for watching, this has been Skin at GLHFtv.